Whenever we want to convince someone to implement a change into their standard behavior, we need to be ready to deal with some resistance from their side. No matter what your profession is, whether you're a medicine doctor trying to convince a patient to some therapy, or a psychologist asking your patient to implement some home assignment, perhaps a teacher, a manager, a quality analyst who tries to convince their agents to do something in a different way, you need to be able to convince these people to do that. Sometimes, for some of them, it will be just enough to tell them to do this, to change something in their life, to start taking a pill, or to implement some change in their work. But in more situations, there's more to it. You need to find a decent justification why this change is necessary. Justification, what do I mean by that? Well, justification means an impact that a particular change is going to have on their professional or private life. And when it comes to impact, you can look at it from two different perspectives. First of all, you can show a negative impact of their bad behavior or a negative impact of not implementing some changes. In this way, you will show them that if nothing changes, what bad could happen, what could be the consequences of it. So if you're a medicine doctor trying to convince your patient to a treatment, it's a good idea to show them what the long-term effects could be of them not taking a particular pill. If you're a psychologist asking a patient to do an assignment, you can show them how little chance there is that their life will change for the better without any activities on their side. If you are a manager and if you want your employee to start doing something new or doing something in a different way, you can show them what negative aspects will happen to them if they don't implement it. And it can be anything from losing a client who is dissatisfied with their service, through showing your employee that they are not going to be very satisfied with a yearly appraisal. We can look at impact from another perspective as well. We can show the person what good is going to happen if they do implement the change, if they do start taking the pill, if they do this assignment that we give them to do. In other words, you can show them what reward there is going to happen. Reward as a very metaphorical meaning, because it does not have to be anything physical. It can be the satisfaction of their client. It can be many years of life with the family members. One thing is certain, impact is the key here. Whenever we ask someone to do something, when there is a chance that they will resist, use impact and use it wisely. What do I mean by using impact wisely? Well, if you keep cooperating with one patient, one employee, and one conversation when you used a particular impact did not work, was not effective enough, in the next conversation, make sure not to repeat the same impact. Apparently, it was not effective enough for this particular person. Perhaps in general, it was a good example of impact, but not in this situation, not for this one person. Find something else. Find something meaningful. Look at things from different perspectives. Try to imagine what sort of an impact could work for this particular person in this particular situation. How long should you be doing this? Well, as long as it takes. And in each situation, try and come up with a new impact. Even if you come to some conclusions which are really out of the ordinary, how can you tell that they are not going to work on this agent in particular? Some people need thinking outside of the box just to be convinced. Perhaps if you come with something really original as an impact, this will be the one that changes everything. One of my students asked me if we should use impact also as parents developing our children? The answer is yes, definitely yes. Very often children, they don't react to our requests just because they don't understand why we ask them to do something. And mind you, telling them that you need to do that because I say so is one of the worst possible examples of impact. Let me give you an analogy just to make you see why such examples of impact never work. It's just like people speeding while driving their cars. There is a speed limit, but there are so many people who do not obey the speed limit. Why? Why is it so? In many cases, this is because they really feel that this speed limit is really stupid, that there is no real reason behind it. Many people tell you, yes, there is a speed limit just so that you can get a ticket and the government will get some money out of you, which could be the case as well, but definitely this is not the only reason why there are speed limits. I believe that if we are able to show all beginning drivers the effects of a car crash with a human being, with a passerby, then it would be so clear to see why there is a speed limit to 50 kilometers per hour in so many places. Well, the reason is that above this speed, the chances of the person being hit by a car to survive are dramatically lower. Up to the speed of 50 kilometers per hour, you also have better chances of reacting on time to whatever is going on in the streets, right? So try explaining things this way, showing an impact that could be reasonable, that could be acceptable by the person you are trying to explain why they should do something, why they should follow some rules, why they should obey some restrictions. Avoid saying, you need to do that because I say so, or you need to do that because someone else told me to. Make sure that you come up with a series of good arguments, of good justifications why this particular change needs to be implemented. This way, you have a much better chances of being successful in convincing your employees that this change is exactly what they need. I hope you're going to be able to use this suggestion, to use impact as often as it's needed, as often as you can, or as often as you ask someone to do something and you see some resistance from their side, or to avoid resistance from their side. Share with me your experience with asking people to do things. Tell me how effective you are and brag about it. Feel free to brag about how effective you are. And if you would be willing to share some good hints on how to convince others to do things, please do so as well in the comment area below. And I'll speak to you next time. Take care.